Good evening and welcome to the October 20th meeting of the Lowell License Commission. Secretary Nguyen, was the meeting posted?
Yes.
Number one on the agenda, please.
Starting with the minutes from our meeting of October the 6th.
Council Krieger.
I move approval.
Move for approval by Commissioner Krieger, seconded by Commissioner Donahue. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Number two.
Commission will now take up number 2 on the meeting agenda for License Commission ratification, the issuance of a special one-day license to sell dispense malt beverages and wine only to Tabitha Garnett, the catering manager of Aramark, for event at the Allen House Gallery at 2 Solomon Way. The Fine Arts Professors Meeting, Monday, October 17th, 2016, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Also, Mr. Chairman, if I may just jump ahead, because of Tabitha being here now and the fact that she needs to get back to the Sanger Center, if you'd be okay with the commission, I read off the 2 applications she has for events upcoming.
Does she have any free tickets for us, or she just wants to jump the agenda here?
I'm sorry?
That'll be fine. That'll be
Okay.
fine.
Well, just to point out also that Tabitha has 2 applications for beer and wine for the University Crossing at 220 Pawtucket Street Retention Commission meeting, Tuesday, October 25th, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., and the ETIC Atrium at 40 University Ave, Soft Robotics Workshop for Tuesday, November 8th, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Good evening. State your name for the record. Hi, Tabitha. How are you?
I'm good.
You've been here 700 times.
About that.
Okay. Commissioners, any comments on any events? Commissioner Krieger.
What's a retention commission?
It's for the Student Affairs Department to go over their retention plans. I'm not exactly sure. I just know it's the Student Affairs Department that's hosting it.
I'll give you a pass on that, thanks.
Wish of the body.
Move approval.
Move for approval by Commissioner Donahue, seconded by Commissioner Krieger. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Good luck with your events.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commission will now proceed with number 3 on the meeting agenda, the application by the Farmer Winery for a license to sell at a farmer's market. This is in reference to the Craft Vines Festival at Mill Number 5, 250 Jackson Street, the 4th floor, for Saturday, October 22nd, 2016, from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Wineries that have filed applications, La Cantina Winery Company, Robert Rosella, manager, 355 Union Street, Franklin, Mass. The Pony Shack Cider, Inc., Nathan McKinley, manager, 188 Picnic Street, Boxborough, Mass. Dan Clapp, doing business as 1634 Meadery, Dan Clapp, manager, 3 Short Street, Ipswich, Mass. And Aaron Apsalas, Noel A. Powell, manager, 28 Carlisle Road, Westford, Mass.
Good evening.
Mr. Bozella is apparently not being able to be here tonight. Apparently has a teaching assignment in Wentworth Institute, and apparently compels him to be there on Tuesday and Thursday evenings. Mr. Powell is here to speak on his behalf, if the commission is willing to allow for that.
I would make a motion that Mr. Powell represent Mr. Vazella. Mr. Vazella has done some other business here in the city. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much. Gentlemen, good evening. State your name for the record, please.
I'm Noel Powell, the owner and winemaker of Aaron App Cellars.
How are you, Noel?
Nathan McKinley, owner of Pony Shack Cider.
Good evening.
Dan Clapp, owner of 1634 Meadery in Ipswich.
Hi, Dan. How are you?
Good.
Gentlemen, just quick, I'll let one of you just tell me about the event.
Okay. I've been a vendor at the farm market at the Mill Number 5 for the past 18 months or so. And speaking with them, we thought it would be a great venue for a small wine festival, especially as they're bringing in new shops like the Mill City Cheesemongers and the Red and White Market that are really focused on bringing locally sourced foods and groceries into the mill and provide them to the urban environment. So we thought it'd be a great way to bring people into the mill, showcase the shops, as well as give them a good taste of pairing local wines with locally grown and made foods. So we're planning on doing that this Saturday from 1 to 5 p.m. At the mill.
Sounds like a great event.
We're hoping so.
Deputy Superintendent Webb, any concerns here at all?
No problems, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Questions, comments on the board?
Mr. Powell has to assure us that he will talk to Mr. Vazella and make clear that we expect to see the rules followed and the license posted.
Yes.
Further comments? Commissioner Donahue.
Just one question. In the letter from Mr. Vozella, he said, "I will be represented at the market." He won't even be at the market on
No,
Saturday?
he will be at the market, yeah.
That's a...
Yeah, he just couldn't be here tonight because he's teaching engineering classes.
Be represented on Saturday.
Oh, no, I mean, he will be there, yes.
He'll be there. Okay, thank you.
That's fine. Wish of the board.
Move approval.
Move for approval by Commissioner Krieger, seconded by Commissioner Donahue. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Gentlemen, hope it's a great event. Sounds like a great event. All
Thank
right.
you.
You're welcome. Excuse me for 1 second, Secretary Nguyen. Item agenda number 13, I see Mr. Hune here. Mr. Hune, you do not have to be present here. The legal notice will go out, and then just be here for the public hearing. So I don't want to waste your time. I did see you in your restaurant as I was walking by, so I figured you'd have to get back there. All right, thank you, sir. All right.
Commission now proceed with number 4 on the meeting agenda, the application for a special one-day license to sell, dispense all alcoholic beverages for nonprofit organization. Andrea Como, on behalf of the House of Hope, Inc., Lowell, 30th anniversary Harvest of Hope benefit at 520 Fletcher Street for Thursday, October 27, 2016, from 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m.
Good evening. State your name for the record.
Andrea Camo.
How are you, Andrea?
Good, how are you?
Good. Tell us what's going on at the House of Hope.
We're having a 30th, or they're having a 30th anniversary benefit for the House of Hope, a homeless shelter. I'm a beverage catering manager at a beverage catering vendor service, so I'm applying on their behalf.
You're going to be there? You're gonna-
Correct, yep.
Tip certified, Andrea? Are you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I have a copy of it if you need it.
Nope, I'm all set right now. Questions, comments from the board?
Move approval.
Move approval by Commissioner Howe, seconded by Commissioner Krieger. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Good luck with the event.
Thank you.
Do a good job over there.
Commission will now proceed with number 5, application for special one-day licenses to sell, dispense malt beverages and wines only, or either one. Samantha Kale. Mr. Chairman, Samantha Kale apparently notified the office this morning that her event, or yesterday, I should say, that the event that she had scheduled for October 29th is canceled, so she would not be here tonight.
Thank you.
Mark Claremont of the Miracle Providers Northeast, Inc., the Onyx Room at 122 Western Avenue, charity cabaret show for the Miracle Providers for Saturday, November 12th, 2016, from 6 p.m. to 12 midnight. Patricia Donahue, 167 Market Street, Lowell, Gallery Z, 167 Market Street. She has filed 3 applications. First is the brunch music with Stephen Clements, MCC, I assume that's Middlesex Community College, show closing reception, Sunday, October 23rd, 2016, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Reception, Antony A., the show and Halloween Gala for Saturday, October 29th, 7:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Reception artist, Antonio J., music in the cafe, Saturday, November 5th, 7:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Also, Penny Hammergas of the Worthen House Cafe, parking lot at 152 Worthen Street, across from Worthen House, the Oktoberfest Halloween Music Fest, 3 applications, Friday, October 28th, 8 p.m. to 12:30 a.m., Saturday, October 29th, 3 p.m. to 12:30 a.m., and Sunday, October 30th, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m.
State your name for the record, all of you, please.
Mark Claremont from the Miracle Providers.
Hi, Mark.
Hi, how are you?
Patricia Donahue, Gallery Z.
Hi, Patricia.
How you doing?
Penny Hammergos, Worthen House Cafe.
Hi, Penny. Mark, tell us what's going on.
This is our biggest fundraiser of the year to help raise funds for the children impacted by HIV and AIDS, and it's a big cabaret show that'll be put on Saturday night.
Well done. Patricia?
Middlesex Community College art faculty members show is closing, so we're going to do a Sunday brunch for them. We have Anthony Yokovich art opening on the 29th, and we're going to have music, and we want to sell, instead of give it away, the beer and the wine. And during a art show, we usually do something in between the beginning and the closing. So we thought we'd just do a little get-together for Anthony Yukarich on the 5th.
Okay,
So that's all.
great, thank you.
Yep.
Penny, what's going on at the Worthing?
Well, we're having an outdoor, basically we're combining Oktoberfest with Halloween, so primarily Oktoberfest, Friday night, Halloween party, Saturday night, and more of like a Halloween family environment Sunday afternoon.
Very well. Deputy Superintendent Webb, any concerns on these applications?
No, Mr. Chairman, no concerns with any of these locations.
Thank you very much. Questions, comments from the board?
Move approval.
Second.
Move for approval by Commissioner Krieger, seconded by Commissioner Howell. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, the motion carries. Good luck with all your events.
Commission now will proceed with application filed by Gabby Davis, made in Lowell, for the Craft Beer Walk, Lowell, Saturday, November 12, 2016, from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. There will be beer samples to be available at the following downtown locations, and Gabby has filed applications for each venue, starting with Sweets Lydia, 160 Merrimack Street, Owl Stamp Company, 142 Middle Street, Trika Fashion, 96 Merrimack Street, Lowell Jewelry and Loan, 24 Merrimack Street, Debbie Daily Designs, 189 Market Street, The Flower Mill at 183 Dutton Street, Eyeful Beauty, 33 Middle Street, Humanity Boutique at 128 Merrimack Street, Brewed Awakening Coffee House, 61 Merrimack Market Street, Persona at 51 Market Street, Mill City Tobacco at 104 Merrimack Street, Cool Place at 122 Merrimack Street, Little Delights Bakery at 132 Merrimack Street, AOOL at 110 Merrimack Street, City Bicycle, 181 Market Street, the Brush Art Gallery and Studios, 256 Market Street, and Arts League of Lowell Gallery, 307 Market Street.
Well done, Secretary Wynn. State your name for the record.
Gabby Davis with Maiden Lowell.
You got my curiosity, Gabby. Tell me how you're going to pull this off.
As we did it last year, it's the same footprint from last year. So the craft beer walk last year was very successful, and the whole purpose behind the event is really about economic engagement. So we really engage our ticket holders to go directly into these stores around holiday shopping season. And so after the event was actually over, I did survey the local businesses that participated, and even the ones that didn't participate and remained open that evening, and they had an increase in sales. Many of them had newcomers and returners that came back. City Bicycle, for example, that's the end of his season, so he pretty much just, people do not have a need for bicycles, and they had people come back in the spring because they came to the craft beer walk. So with this event, we really structured around the small businesses. We do not charge them a fee to participate. I do all the work, and it's really just about small business engagement with them. So with this, last year we had 500 people attend. I turned away 200 people, and I think I could have handled more. So we are opening up tickets from ticket sales to 700 people maximum. Last year we had 30 sample tickets. This year I am requesting I do 32 sample tickets over a 4-hour period of time from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. If you look at this, it's pretty much 4 12-ounce beers over a period of time, or 3 16-ounce beers. So it's I'm not asking for a whole lot of sample tickets. I think that's a reasonable amount to consume. Ticket holders last year asked if we could find a way to include street food. So I am including food trucks this year on Dutton Street, right outside the Flour Mill, and the All Art Gallery, so that it is outside the downtown ordinance, because I am actually working with local restaurants. I have 5 local restaurants that are participating in downtown Lowell, offering special discounts to the ticket holders during the event time, but also after. And so it's really about trying to engage people and get them to know the downtown Lowell neighborhood right in the heart of winter and going into it for holiday shopping season. And so we are looking at yellow bracelets like we did last year, so we'll check everyone's ID.
Yep.
They are, last year we had sample cups at each location. For the Lowell Food and Wine Festival this year, I actually did 1 sample cup per person. And because I went to a couple different beer festivals myself over the summer to kind of get some ideas on how to reduce waste. And so we're actually going to give 1 sample cup per person. And if you lose it, then you're pretty much out. And rinsing stations at each location, so they have the opportunity to do that. And that's pretty much it, I think. Yeah.
Very good. Deputy Superintendent Webb, your comments on last year's and what we, about this year?
I'm not aware of any problems from last year's event.
Very well, sir.
Anticipate any this year.
Commissioner Krieger, question?
These are going to be inside the different stores?
Yes. Yes, they were inside each store. We offered a 4-foot table last year for the brewery representative, and they are brewery representatives that are tip certified, and they work as representatives with each of the breweries.
Mill City Tobacco sells tobacco, is that right?
Yes, they do.
Mr. Velosa, I understand from something, I can't remember where, something I heard here in City Hall, that tobacco places can't sell other things. Is that correct? Is this something where they would have to move outside the tobacco store?
Commissioner, I'm not aware of any, at least local regulation on that point. I believe it's my understanding, though, that, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Davis, I don't believe the alcohol is being sold at the by the establishment. It's only samples are being offered?
Absolutely. So they get 32 sample tickets, and that provides a sample of 1.5 ounces.
So I would submit, sir, that I think given the circumstances here, Mill City Tobacco isn't selling alcohol to the patrons, that it's only essentially being provided as a venue for the provision of alcohol. So again, I don't think there's a local regulation that would prevent it, and even if there was, I would submit
I don't think so either. I
Right.
was thinking a state rule, but I'll rest with your analysis. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
With the increase in the number of people that you're going to be having, any further detail you think might be needed, or you think what last year's will suffice?
Last year we had 3 detail, and I think that really was enough.
Okay.
The police officers were very pleased during the event and afterwards. I got a lot of good feedback from the police details then.
Commissioners, anything further?
Could I
Motion of
make
the
a
body.
request?
Motion on the floor by Commissioner Krieger, seconded by Commissioner Howe. All in favor, signifies by...
I'm sorry, I believe there was a request, ma'am?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. I think she requested something of the...
I apologize, Gabby. Go ahead.
Thank you. So last year you gave us a $10 per permit fee, and I was wondering if we could do the same for this year.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Anybody have any problems with that?
No objection.
No objections?
No.
All right, the motion's on the floor by Commissioner Krieger, seconded by Commissioner Howe. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Gabby, good luck.
Thank
You
you.
always do a good job with your licenses. Well, the board's very pleased with the way you handle things.
Thank you so much.
All right, bye-bye.
Have a good night.
You as well.
Commission now proceed with an application for the beer and wine by Allison Turcott, Mill Number 5, 250 Jackson Street, 4th floor, Suleiman Day concert for Saturday, November 12, 2016, from 12 p.m. to 1 a.m. This application had been continued at the meeting of October the 6th for the License Commission in order to review plan for entertainment amplified music at the Suleiman Day concert. Abutters may address the commission about amplified music. Also, in conjunction with Allison's application, applications had been filed for public amusement licenses. The first, Jim LaCoulis for the Suleiman Day concert for Saturday, November 12, 2016, from noon to 1 a.m. at the Hi Hat at Mill Number 5, 250 Jackson Street, 4th floor. And the second application by the LLC known as Coca Luna LLC, James LaCoulis, manager, the Hi Hat at Mill Number 5, 250 Jackson Street, 4th floor, annual license for concert for 2016.
State your name for the record.
James Lachulis.
How are you, James?
Good, how are you?
All right, we got a lot to talk about here, right?
Yes.
So I guess we'll speak on both of these applications.
Just one thing.
Sure you may.
Allison, we didn't realize she was supposed to come tonight. Then we texted her, and she could come, but then I asked her to not come tonight because we might be talking with some abutters about noise. And 2 years ago, I was in front of the board with the same abutters, and they said some really abrasive things, and anticipating that, I didn't want to subject my employee to that. So I'm here
So you're here in her
to
stead?
represent her, yes.
Okay. Any problems with the board? Any objections to that?
I am the owner of the LLC, and she's my employee, so she was here for me initially.
Commissioner Donahue, any problems? Commissioner Howell? No. Okay. Commissioner Krieger, any problem?
No.
Okay. Attorney Veloso, I know we have some people that would like to speak. Should we let them speak first before we hear what, or should we state have Mr. Luciullo state what he plans on doing here?
It might be useful just to give a brief overview of what the issue is, just for those that are viewing, just to understand what's going on here in general.
Mr. Luciullo, the floor is yours.
Okay. Bill number 5 is a place on Jackson Street that is has a yoga studio, coffee, restaurant, a theater, and it's a unique place with lots of events. And one of the things we try to do is support local artists. The Hi-Hat venue is a space where we feature music, live music, local bands, and that's part of our mission. So in this area, we've set up a small stage. There's a record store there. There's a music store. They actually can cut records now. So we wanted to create a small little mini venue for independent music. We're trying to figure out how to make it work financially. So we have tried different things. We have tried one-day licenses. We are trying to figure out which day works. And I got notice that there was an abutter that was concerned about noise. So we looked into it. And I did send a letter to the commission the other day. I don't know if you have a copy of it, sort of explaining the issue. There's 250 Jackson Street, which is where mill number 5 is, and 240 Jackson Street, which is where Cotton House Lofts are. 2 different buildings abutting one another. There's a thick brick wall between them, 2 feet to 3 feet thick. The buildings were built in about 1873. That amount of mass should be enough to stop any noise penetration. When we looked into it, there's an elevator shaft between the 2 buildings. And at one time, that elevator shaft had a front door and a back door, so they would connect the 2 buildings. So we found areas that were not properly, didn't have the proper sound attenuation, large gaps in the brick, and basically the sound is traveling through that space to the abutter's unit. There's also a hallway in between, so it's not right up against the brick. So what we're proposing, we want to be a good neighbor. We want to have, do it right by the commission and solve the problem. So we're asking if we could solve that sound attenuation problem by adding sound attenuation at 2 points where there are 2 elevator shafts, and we think that'll solve the problem.
When is that work being done?
We started it already, and we still have a little bit more to do, but sort of the first round of things where there were big gaping holes has taken place. Even small little holes transmit lots of sound, where if there's an electrical outlet on one side of a wall and there's one on the other side of the wall, that's enough for sound to travel through and to be problematic. And I think it's one of those things where we'll do what we can, and then we see. And the sound will leak through in other areas if there are other problems. And then you just sort of add mass to the wall until there's no more sound penetration. There's specific products that are used in this process. I don't know if you want to get into the details of it, but that's what we'd like to
The
do.
people that you have working on these, are these professional people that know about sound and all this good stuff, or is this something, or just a basic construction firm that's going to put this up for you?
We do all our own work at mill number 5, so I'm the general contractor. I actually was involved in building the condos when they were built originally.
Yep.
And so I believe I'm knowledgeable enough, but no, I haven't gotten into sound. We also have sound issues at times with the school beneath us. And we've gone through the process about sound attenuation with the school, which is a slightly different issue because it's a wood floor, and it was actually the school's noise that was interfering with us upstairs. So no, by no means am I an expert in it, but I know a lot about it, and it's, I think it's something we can improve greatly.
All right. I know there's some people here to speak, but to me, this would be a difficult vote for me for the fact that until the work is complete and we actually hear what, or we don't hear what's emanating from the other side, I'm gonna have a tough time voting for this tonight. I will tell you that, Mr. Luchulis. To me, I mean, you're, like you said, you're in the construction business and you've done this, but until everything's done and we hear a band at full blast and your neighbors are sleeping soundly, I don't know how I'm gonna be able to vote for this. So with that being said, I'm gonna let, unless you have something else to say right now.
Well, I guess the question is, how do we figure out if it's working? What is the standard we're using to judge that?
Well, if you don't wake up your neighbors at night first, what are you asking me?
Well, 2 years ago, we applied for a massage license. And these same neighbors came in front of this board and made some wild accusations. I don't want to revisit them or...
No, I understand.
I don't know if you recall.
I do remember that.
It's the same people, and I don't know, there are no other... I don't know if we can do... I think if there was no sound, it would still be an issue.
Let me ask you this. What's our next meeting? November 3rd?
Yes, it is.
And your event is November 12th, right?
Yes. But I don't know if it's something, a site visit, where we can simulate and decide if things are working. I just don't know how we measure this.
I'd like to hear a band playing and see if I hear any music in the hallway.
Okay, we can do that.
We can play semantics all day, but, if you're waking up your neighbors, you're waking up your neighbors. And I understand you've had past dealings with them, but still, it's a...
Well...
They're paying rent and they want to be sleeping at night and not at 2 o'clock in the morning. You don't want to hear, a bass drum and lead guitar from going off,
I don't want to inflame the situation anymore.
Sure, I understand.
But there will not be a sound issue.
Okay.
It's marginally a sound issue right now. And I can't wait to hear how I'm going to be insulted in just a few minutes.
Commissioner Krieger.
How do you read the local noise ordinance? What's your understanding of that?
It's for the quiet enjoyment of people around us. People have the right to use their space and have the right to and have the quiet enjoyment of that. And it's a standard that is used in condominium construction. It's a commonly used legal term. And it's not, it comes down to what people think when they hear it. It's not a decibel rating, it's quiet enjoyment. It's something to be argued about. That's the way it happens with condominiums when people are arguing about noise.
But does the regulation put some decibel limits on us?
Not that I'm aware of. There are different types of sound and noise as well. And in decibels is not the only way to rate it because there's vibrations and other things that you don't have very high decibels, but could be very troubling if you're living in that environment where your floor is shaking.
Elliot, got anything to add to this?
There are a couple of points that I think we have to make in terms of at least my analysis of it. First, I believe the city's noise ordinance does have a decibel standard to it. To be fair, I haven't looked at it in a while, but I do believe that there is a testing provision there which involves decibel levels, and I can certainly take a look at that. Thanks, Ryan.
God, we love Ryan. I'm going to have the city manager give you a raise, Ryan. All right? I'll talk to Kevin in the morning. Fine.
Yeah, there is it is based on a decibel frame. There is a framework for decibel levels, sound levels, and it's based on zoning districts and things like that. So at least in terms of that aspect, there is a decibel level provision involved in terms of whether you exceed it or not. I think, though, that it should be noted that at least the law department has some concerns on a more fundamental level, though, about the area known as high hat. The first issue is that based on the setup of the hall from mill number 5, it's at least my understanding that the elevators for entrance and exit from mill number 5 are located at this end of the hall. And also, I believe one of the staircases is located essentially on this end of the hall as well. There is a concern that if you have a stage or a concert area set up in this place, if you have people with handicaps or disabilities trying to enter or exit from mill number 5 and they're using this elevator and they exit out into the establishment and they're running into a crowd or essentially a performance going on there, there may be a question of accessibility here that may be in violation of the Americans with Disabilities
Could I address that,
Act.
please? Because there's some assumptions you made that are incorrect about the space.
You can certainly address those points. I just want to bring up a number of conditions first. The second issue is that the staging area, at least from our review, does not have any licensure in terms of exhibitions, specifically theatrical this is Chapter 140, Section 181, in which you would grant a license for public shows, public amusements, exhibitions. It's my reading that if you are holding musical performances at this establishment for profit, specifically the payment of tickets, it would require some sort of licensure for the staging itself. As a result, I don't believe that if they lack the licensure to do this in this area, that they can charge or charge for tickets for performances there at that time until they get such a license. I've also been informed by, it's my understanding from Secretary Wynn that Sean Shanahan, the building inspector, has voiced some concerns about this portion of mill number 5. Specifically, if performances are going to be performed here, whether or not the capacity limits will be met or not. As you're aware, buildings have a certain maximum capacity of people that can be allowed there. We are uncertain at this time if the space here where high hat performances are being held allows for whatever number of people are expected to be attending the performance. And in addition, with the ingress and egress issues that might be there if there's a crowd there, I know the Inspectional Services has some concerns regarding sort of health and safety standards in regards to a venue being held there. Additionally, there may be some issues in regards to where the setup is going to be for the staging. It's my understanding that given that this is an open area, the staging can be moved, performances can be modified to fit the area, and I would certainly submit that if a license is required to perform for musical venues, you need to designate specifically where your staging is, where your power is, where performers are allowed to set up, and essentially what kind of amplification you can have. That would have to be an assessment done by the License Commission. And as part of that assessment, if a license would be granted for music performances, it's within the License Commission's purview to designate what days these performances can be done and what times they can be performed. Specifically, given that it's our understanding that there's a residential area right next door, and if a license for public amusements or theatrical performances is required, the License Commission would certainly be within its purview to condition times of performances, amplification requirements, maybe for certain requiring, things like that. So to wrap it up, there are a couple of issues here that, certainly in the law department's position, that I think require further analysis.
Okay.
And we feel that analysis hasn't been done as of
All right. I'll let Mr. Luchulis reply. I know he had a couple of comments, then I'll let the...
Well, has the law department visited the site, sir? Have you been there?
I personally have not been there recently. I'm just voicing those concerns based on the materials that have been presented to me. I have been there once or twice. I confess it hasn't been recent, so I don't know specifically the setup in what is designated as High Hat. I just simply note, though, that there are some ongoing legal concerns that I've recently voiced that I think still need to be addressed.
Understood. My point was that there's just a lot of assumptions that have been made that are completely incorrect, and I know we're not going to solve them all today, but let me just say a couple of them without wasting any more of anybody's time here today. Regarding the handicapped entrance and the elevator, we have 2 elevators. We shut one down when during performances, so they aren't going through that performance area. So I think that is mitigated. Regarding tickets, we don't need to do tickets. If that's an issue for the licensing commission, we're here to support artists. We can do away with that. The space, we've done calculations of the space requirements, access and egress, and calculations for that, and we have those, and that's all available. Regarding the stage moving, it's a permanent stage. It cannot move. So I would hope that the licensing, the legal department takes the time to interface with us to discuss these issues before making assumptions.
Thank you. Commissioner Howe?
You said you were here several years ago.
Yes.
When was that, 2014?
Thereabouts.
And with the same issue and the same?
No, the issue was we have a tenant that is a massage therapist, and we were here for a license, and the same abutters, intimated and accused us of running or wanting to open a house of ill repute, and accused me of human trafficking and some other wild accusations. So I don't trust what they're saying, and I hope that is taken into consideration.
So, and you've come here and said that you want to be a good neighbor, but you've said several things already very negative against these people who haven't even had a chance to speak. So I question why you're saying that.
I will show you the tape, and you will not question it any longer.
So at some time, did you have concerts not in that hallway, like away from there?
We've had them for the last 2 years, constantly, different times, different setups, different configurations. This is something that's been ongoing since we've opened.
Because I had a chance to view a YouTube video, and I saw that, I thought the hi-hat was an area, a hall, and I saw that the hi-hat was a hallway, hi-hat hallway.
It's sort of a lobby of a hotel is akin to that.
And it's near the egress, and so I have some major concerns for safety. I don't know if it violates any fire codes or that, number one, safety. Number two, if you've got bands right up against 6 feet away from someone's property.
It's not 6 feet away from somebody's property. It's much further. I invite you to come out and walk through it.
Okay. How far away is it from their property?
Between 15 and 20 feet, probably.
Okay. Yeah. So you've got a band 15 to 20 feet away with percussion, with amplification, mm-hmm. And you're now proposing to, your company is going to fix this? Have you hired any type of sound engineer?
No.
No.
I invite you to come out and look at it because I do have beyond a basic understanding of sound, and the mass of these huge mill buildings is what is in between them. And these are the only, well, I invite you to come out and see it and talk through it. This is very abstract right now. And somebody's video that they put on YouTube really doesn't tell us anything.
When did you become aware that the sound, not the massage parlor, the sound was a problem with these residents?
It has come up in the past. I don't remember how recently, but it's a constant barrage of complaints. So when this complaint started, I don't recall.
You don't recall when you first had a complaint about the sound?
Correct, from this, yes. I don't, because there have been ongoing complaints from these people for the last 2 years. First time I took it seriously was when City Councilor Belanger talked to me about it and said, hey, we need to do something about this. And,
But would it
that
be
was
fair to
recently.
say that you were at least on notice maybe 6 months ago that the sound was an issue with these residents?
No, it would not be fair to say.
No, okay.
No, because
You had no idea?
I've checked it. I've gone over to the site when there is music playing, especially when it first started. And it's no louder than, it's much louder in here right now.
I watched a video of it. There was a decibel machine, whatever it is. I'm
Yeah,
not
but-
an engineer. Let me finish. I'm not an engineer. And it was from their apartment or condo, and it was really loud. So I question whether you want to be a good neighbor. And I like Mill 5. I really appreciate what you've done there. But I don't see why you can't just move the band from the hallway to another area. You've got thousands of square feet. So that's my question. I don't know why you're dead set on having it right at an egress next to these people's residence. They predated you people. They're going to be moving out, and they won't be able to sell their condo.
I'll buy it. It's fine.
I don't have any more questions.
Commissioner Krieger.
Yeah, Attorney Lowell, so I was a little confused as you were talking about the permissible number of people in the room. You suggested that we don't know what that number is. Is that not the responsibility of someone in city government, the fire department, the building inspector, to survey the room and say, yep, this is no more than 121 people or something like that?
Well, let me correct that statement. I guess I would say that I don't know the specific number for egress. I believe that the building commissioner and especially inspectional services would know the exact number. I would submit, though, that if the capacity for a hallway is a very different thing from a capacity from a staging area. And I would submit that they're not necessarily interchangeable. Especially if you're holding a performance in, as Commissioner Howe, I believe, has correctly noted, an area of egress, you have concerns there of how do you differentiate between those that are trying to get to and from, entering mill number 5 into other establishments and those that are there at the staging area watching the event.
It's not an area of egress. That's the primary misconception. You need to see it. It needs to be explained to the legal department.
Okay, I'm happy with what you've said.
Commissioner Krieger, if I may, I did have a conversation with Building Commissioner Shanahan this morning in regards to 250 Jackson Street. Certificate of inspection that's been issued does not designate that space in any way, shape, or form at this present time. It is used as a venue for concert. So it would be in the building commissioner's responsibility to ensure that if the venue is set up as a concert, there has to be a proper certificate of inspection.
So if in fact that's the case, why is he in front of us first? If in fact that's the case, shouldn't he get that permit before he comes in front of us?
And I would point out to you, Mr. Chairman, and members of the commission, that you are correct and that it is a matter that I could have probably have addressed with the applicant had I known that this was to come to this point, and that is to say to the board, from the point in Allison Turcotte's initial application for the beer and wine for the event, it becomes a larger issue.
And I would note, at least from the law department's perspective, that you would certainly need certification from the building portion of it, just to make sure that it's in compliance with the codes. You'd also need certification from the fire department to ensure that you're meeting safety standards.
I know there's people here to speak, and be quite frank, I can give you that opportunity, but I really don't think it's needed because I know Commissioner Krieger may be making a motion here, but there's some homework needs to be done here before it even comes in front of this board, be it the building inspection department or the construction that needs to be done in order to tell this board that, yeah, it's fixed. I'm not ready to vote in favor of this right now. With the construction not being done, and now knowing that we may need a building permit, I'm not voting. I would ask Commissioner Krieger if he's willing to make a motion, then I'd be more than happy to second it.
Yeah, based on the situation and the lack of detailed information that we appear to need, I will make a motion that we defer this to the next meeting, at which time we hope to know more. And I would hope that Mr. Luchulis would, if he feels that a hands-on view is required, that he would reach out to the various licensed commissioners.
Commissioner Howe?
I'll second.
Second.
I'll second that, but I also want to say that I think these people are here. They should have an opportunity, if they want, to say something because what's been said here, I think they should have an opportunity to speak if they want to.
Okay, at this time, it's not a public hearing, so you can just go right up if you'd like to speak. If you don't mind just stating your name and your address, be great. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Randy Matthew, 240 Jackson Street.
How are you tonight?
Fine, thank you.
Good.
Thank you. This is Mary Bassett. She's my counsel as well. But I did want to just address, thank you, some of the things Jim said. I understand he feels insulted. I want to point out that the very first time as Elena and I were introduced to the mill number 5 was through noise, through noise issues. It was back in January 12th on a Sunday night. And then again on Friday, January 24th of 2014. And so we called the police, of course, and they were able to have the bands move it down the hall. And there's a video. Did you all get a copy? Okay, sorry. And that works, as we all know from elementary school. When someone is in the back of the room, they have to speak a little bit louder when you're further away. So distance is a great attenuator. And then it was quiet. So usually your neighbor, when you bang on a wall or complain or something, they get the idea that there's a problem. And then there was another request at the License Commission of January 30th, and so I did come to that, and I just expressed concern. Beyond that, there was a zoning board meeting, and at that time, I expressed my concerns over what was happening on the other side of my living premises. Never insulted him. I merely stated my concerns, and that is on video. But he feels insulted, so. And then the rest of this is, the calls, I would call and call and call the police, and you have the dates. And one officer came and spoke at the city council, apparently, and spoke to Corey Belanger. So, and that was in 2015. So I'm sure Jim Luchulis has known for many years that it is a problem. And it's upsetting to us that he has it there, and we feel abused and assaulted by this, mentally and physically. We don't know when we can come home. And as far as recently, I would call Corey. I like Corey. Always answers his phone, helps us out. September 13th, and talked to him. He said that shouldn't be there. He emphatically agreed with Elena and I. And we said, and then later that day, I actually ran into Mr. Luchulis in the hallway, in the entryway to the building. And I said, great. I don't know how to get in touch with him usually, and there he was, so we spoke. And I said, your music at this location is extremely loud, and why don't you move it like it was away? And that would be the best, wisest. Mill 5 can be a fantastic thing. We don't care. What we care about is our peace and quiet use of our residents, and we're being deprived of that. He has better alternatives. And so, in talking with him in the hall, I said, we should sit down with Corey and work it out, figure out, how we all get through this. And that didn't happen. And then we were traveling, so I sent in the letter to this commission. And I appreciate you giving me the chance to speak tonight about this as well. I am a mechanical engineer at an audio company, and I have worked on attenuation projects. And I can tell you, when you're 12 feet away from a stage, I don't care how much you have going on, that's a daunting task, to say the least, to keep the sound from traveling through there. And there are elevator shafts, ventilation shafts, stairways. Everything has joints, everything has beams, ceilings, connections. So anytime you bang on something, that goes through through the walls and everything, comes out the other side. And there's a lot of special materials and tricks and things you can do, but every one of those has a certain frequency rating, certain abilities and certain capacities, and at the end of the day, when you look at trying to soundproof something, you still have connections and paths for sound to transfer through. The only thing that it doesn't transfer through is an insulation, or a vacuum, like a thermos bottle in outer space. You don't transfer any sound. So if there was a vacuum wall there, that would be great, that no sound would get through that. Otherwise, it's extremely difficult. So I show the picture of the hallway, between the elevator shaft and us, and that's 6 feet, measure it with a ruler. And that is new sheetrock and new caulking that was put up. And it measures the same, because caulking doesn't stop any massive vibrations, and a piece of sheetrock or 2 or 3 or 4 isn't going to stop that either. So I appreciate the efforts, but that's a daunting task. So that summarizes my statement, which I gave to you. I appreciate the time. Thank you. And
Thank you very much. Counselor, would you like to say?
Well, I was prepared to argue a lot, and I will argue not at all, because there's nothing before you've already voted. I just want to point out with the noise ordinance that after the part on decibels, and it does have particular ratings, and this is how you test. There are professionals who can be hired to do the job and can report actual tests to you. So you don't have to take anyone's word for it, or someone say, oh, it's done, and someone says, no, it's not done. That's why you would hire a professional acoustical engineer to do the job. But the sound ordinance, don't forget, says notwithstanding, the second part of it, 204-4 says, notwithstanding what we talked about, the decibels, no person, can endanger the comfort, health, safety, and repose of other people, and particularly points out proximity to residential sleeping facilities. And I think that has to be kept in mind, and that's all with regard to all the other issues that will have to be addressed. This should not get lost, I think, because, of course, to us, it's the most important issue. I know to the to the town, and I appreciate the law department. They have their issues, but representing the residents here, our issues are just about the noise and the sound, the amplified music, the percussion instruments. It's too much and needs to be abated. So, thank you very much.
Thank you very
I don't know
much.
if I introduced myself, I'm sorry. I'm Mary Bassett, an attorney in Concord, although I am from Lowell, was born and raised here, went to Sacred Heart School, graduated from Keith Hall. My mother taught at Sacred Heart. My sister still teaches at Lowell High. And my dad, for many, many years, actually worked on Jackson Street at the Courier-Citizen, when it was a printing company. And I remember picking him up, that's back in the day when you only had one car. That back in the day, but, and the family would pick him up from work, and I remember seeing all the, mostly men, coming out of the mills there, and it's just fantastic. And I have been to mill number 5, way prior to this, because I do love Lowell and think it's all great, but don't forget, these folks bought in here, almost a dozen years ago, and, but for your great residents, you got certainly developers you need, but your residents are your heart and soul of Lowell, and we certainly appreciate your concern for them, and we really do appreciate and take that to heart.
Thank you, Attorney Bassett. There is a motion on the floor by Commissioner Krieger, was seconded by Commissioner Howe to defer this to the next meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Mr. LaChullis, you have some homework to do, be it from the building department and then coming to us, but got to cross your Ts and dot your Is. Thank you.
Commission will now proceed with number 7 on our meeting agenda, application for special events permit for amplified outdoor public entertainment. Penny K. Hammergas of the Worthing House Cafe, Inc., sound system for live music, disc jockey for the Oktoberfest Halloween Music and Food Fest at the parking lot at 152 Worthing Street across from the Worthing House. This would be for Friday night, October 28th, from 8 p.m. to 12 midnight, Saturday, October 29th, from 3 p.m. to 12 midnight, and Sunday, October 30th, from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. In addition, we have Frederick Smith of Smith Fest Events, sound system for recorded music, ambient background sounds, haunted run and Halloween party for Saturday, November 5th, 2016, from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. at Shed Park.
State your name for the record.
Penny Hammergas, Worthing House Cafe.
Fred Smith, Smith Fest Events.
And who else?
Maya Smith.
All right, Patty. Very good. Very good.
Carly Smith.
All right. Excellent.
Mr. Chairman, before we commence, Commissioner Donahue just wants to bring something up to the Commission's attention.
Thank you, Commissioner Donahue.
One of the applicants, Mr. Smith, is a second cousin. I feel that I can make a determination on this matter.
So be it.
I know the Smith Fest is a very popular event, but I've never been to it myself.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. That'll be fine. Penny, tell us what's going on. Just the same at the party, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Live entertainment, make sure it's not too loud.
Okay. And Fred?
Just on that, nice to see you, by the way. I will mention that, first off, we're doing our Panic in the Dark, our yearly haunted 5K at Shed Park. It'll be our 5th year. But I do want to thank you for past years, because it's not a simple event. We bring about 500 to 1,200 runners here from all over New England for that. And last year, Runner's World Magazine, which is the largest runners publication in the country, or in the world, named us the scariest run, one of the scariest runs in the country. So thank you. So we're going to continue to do that as long as you allow us to. So thank you.
Very good. Deputy Superintendent Webb, any problems with either of these applications?
No, Mr. Chairman, there's no concerns.
Comments from the board? No. Move for approval by Commissioner Howe, seconded by Commissioner Krieger. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Good luck with your events.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Proceeding with the next item on the meeting agenda is number 8, the application by The Last Safe, Inc., all alcoholic beverages restaurant licensee at 160 Merrimack Street, Unit A, for change of manager to Timothy Regan of Lowell.
State your name for the record.
Timothy Regan.
Tim, how are you tonight?
I'm good.
Good. Tell us about yourself, Tim.
I was a UMass Lowell grad. I have been in Lowell since 2010. I started working at the Smokehouse Tavern about a couple years ago, just as a bar back going through school, just as a part-time job when I was at UMass Lowell getting my business degree. And I really like the industry. I have been working in it ever since. Since then, I started bartending, and then I worked as Tim Kelleher's assistant at the Smokehouse Tavern. And when the opportunity arose to take the manager position at the Last Safe, I thought it was a great job for me and just a bright future for me there.
Very well. Everything seems to be in line here. Commissioners, questions for Mr. Regan?
No.
Wish of the body.
Move approval.
Move approved by Commissioner Krieger, second by Commissioner Donahue. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Tim, good luck.
Thank you.
Wish you best.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Mr. Regan, just for information, this matter has to be approved by the state, by the Alcoholic Beverages Control Commission.
Yes.
So it will be several weeks before we know. So in the meantime, you will not be the official manager of record.
All right. Okay. Sounds good, thank you.
Yeah. Commission will now open a public hearing on the application by Alexander LLC, Alexi Torres LLC manager for an all-alcoholic beverages restaurant license for premises at 179 Central Street. First floor, 2 rooms, 1,600 square feet, 2 entrances, 3 exits, 200 square feet for patio deck, outdoor area. It is requested that Alexi Torres be approved as manager of record for Alexander LLC. Alexander LLC has filed applications for license for common vintner and for entertainment in a licensed restaurant for live music, disc jockey, and jukebox. Legal notice had been published in the Lowell Sun newspaper on Friday, October 7, 2016. It was required of the applicant to notify abutters and any church, school, or hospital within a 500-foot radius. And affidavit has been filed on behalf of Alexander LLC by the attorney.
Good evening. State your name for the record.
Good evening. Attorney Michael Talty for Alexander LLC. Mr. Torres, Alex Torres.
Alexi Torres, Vive Lounge.
How are you, Alexi?
Good, and you?
Very well. Counselor, floor is yours.
Thank you. This is a new application for a venue that has not been operational for maybe about a year now, I believe. It was previously an operational bar, not a restaurant. I don't believe food's been served there for some time. For people who are interested in the Lowell history, it goes way back. In fact, when I started working in that neighborhood, my office is across the street from this location, and it was a diner back then. It was Nick's Diner. And it's probably gone through about 5 or at least 6 different permutations since then. It was a Mexican restaurant. It was an Irish bar. It was an Italian restaurant. So I think it's run the gamut as far as what type of venue it's been. Mr. Torres wants to really get off to a fresh start. This location, in the past few years, has had some issues. To tell you a little bit about Mr. Torres, what he wants to do with the location is bring it more back to a bar restaurant, not just a nightclub. And he intends to do that. He's shown me a menu that he's been working on. He has a lot of history in the food service industry. He's a young man. He's not even 30 yet. But he's been working in the industry since he was a mid-teen. He currently works at the Joe's Bar and Grill in Boston on the waterfront, and he's been working there for quite some time, both tending bar and as a food server. He worked at the Joe's in Nashua before that, and he's a hard-working young man. He works another job. He works 2 jobs at the moment. The other job is at Walmart in Tewksbury. So really what he's trying to do is have a fresh start in his career. He wants to avoid the problems that have occurred in this place, in this particular location in the past. It's a challenging location. The parking isn't very prevalent, but I think there is hope, and I've actually spoken with the landlord, Mr. Kevin Ahern. I talked to him today. He's the building owner. Alex has been, in order to apply for this license, paying rent there for the whole summer while he got this application together. It hasn't been easy for him given his circumstance, but he's anxious to get started, and he hopes that the commission will support this application today. But as I was just about to say, his landlord's in full support of it. This is an area, from what I've seen, having been in business there for quite some time myself, has gone through some change recently. Unfortunately, there was a diner right in the corner. Everyone probably remembers it, and that's no longer closed. Robinson's Diner's gone. There was a cafe on Hurd Street that's in and out. There's really no other, well, obviously there's the pizza shop, Espresso there, but there's not a lot of real, at that end of downtown, a lot of real opportunity to sit down and have dinner or lunch. Really, in one area of the application I want to turn your attention to, because Mr. Wynn pointed it out, it's his intention to be there all the time while this is going. He's the manager, no one else. He's going to make sure he's there. But he's going to have to go through a transition, given that he's working 2 jobs, and get the place started up. It needs a little bit of work in the kitchen, but he's confident he'll be able to, during the time the investigation occurs, have it ready to be open as soon as possible. And hopefully eventually even serve lunch. Right now, he wants to just open in the late afternoon and have it open for dinner, and start with that and see how it goes and go from there and hopefully move over to having that be his full-time employment.
I do have a question for you. You just kind of touched upon it, but he is now working at Walmart and Joe's Bar and Grill. How many hours are you working in both those jobs?
I'm working 40 hours, Tewksbury Walmart, and then I go straight after to Joe's Waterfront, and I'll work about, I would say about 25 hours a week in Boston and 40 hours in Walmart in Tewksbury.
So you're a busy guy.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
it just
So
gotta-
what is, once you open the restaurant, and, I mean, I would imagine, to get it going, you're gonna wanna be there, 60, 70 hours a week at the beginning, but Counselor Talty says you're gonna kind of migrate into that. Which one of these jobs will you be leaving? Are you leaving both of these jobs?
I'm sorry. At the time, well, my intention is to put in my 2 weeks at the restaurant. It's gonna be kind of hard. Been with the restaurant for over 11 years already. Just feel like it's just something that I know that I can do, being in the industry for so long. Also being a culinary arts graduate from the class of 2006 in Greater Lowell. Just feel like it's just a good opportunity for me to do what I love and just pursue and work for myself.
Just for
also for my
clarification,
family.
just for clarification for me, is your intent to still stay at Walmart and work 40 hours at the beginning, or?
Well, I just kind of want to see how it goes at first, and if I feel that like I can live off of, if everything's going good, and feel confident that I can leave Walmart since it is my primary job and have insurance benefits. My intentions, it's possibly to just dedicate my time to the restaurant if everything goes good.
Okay, with that being said, that's 40 hours a week, that's a lot of hours.
Yeah.
Do you have somebody that's going to be helping you at the beginning to get this going to what you want it to be? Because obviously, first impressions of people walking in the door, you want to make sure everything's all right and you're there, but
Yeah.
do you have a co-manager that you're going to have somebody there, or? I'm just thinking Walmart's 40 hours a week.
Yeah, but I only work mornings in Walmart. I'm only in the facility till about 3:20, so that's why I kind of am aiming for doing dinner until I feel confident enough to just dedicate my time to
All
the
right, so
restaurant.
we're going to start off with just doing dinners, not lunches, or?
Yeah, I'm just gonna do dinners for now because I know that I can. It's right 5-minute drive. Go straight to the restaurant and just go from there.
Okay. Counselor Talty, we are going to change that number then on the application?
Absolutely, we'll be amending that.
I'm sure the ABC would be not to,
Indeed.
okay. Commissioner Krieger?
Yeah, I just wanted to know his path through town, that it's only 5 minutes, but aside from that, it sounds good.
Commissioner Howe?
What experience do you have in managing a bar and a restaurant?
Well, it's just personally like me managing my own place. I mean, I don't pretty much I bartended for the last year that we were open in Nashua. Pretty much, even though there is a manager, the way how they say, that's still your bar. Pretty much, the restaurant relies on like who you card and how you serve everyone, and pretty much the guests keep coming in upon my experience that I give to them. So pretty much, it's just like the way how I provide my service and manage, my own area. It's pretty much like the experience that everyone's gonna get to kind of come back.
Will you have a policy and procedure in place as far as service of alcohol and as far as carding people?
Well, I mean, I do want to make because I know that it's not an easy thing to run. I know that it's a lot of consequences if things ain't being done right. So I I want to make sure that I have the right staff that's there to help me out to pretty much run the business. I do have a lot of support from friends and family that are willing to help me out if I open my own establishment.
And if I could just add to that, he is certified through his employment now as a bartender, and he actually has people that he works with who are tip certified that are interested in joining him in the new location. So I think it's a great fit, even though he's never actually been a manager. There's nothing better than someone who's started from the ground up, really.
I wish you luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I go into your restaurant at 5 o'clock and I have a nice dinner, but I want to stay. Do you have any music after, or what's your plans?
Well, my plan for like entertainment, I do like working in Boston. I come across a lot of like live bands. I see these restaurants playing like live jazz music or having a comedy night, even going to karaoke night just to make sure that people have the right experience. So it's pretty much just kind of my same intentions to, as far as entertainment, to do somewhat the same entertainment, live bands as well too.
Okay, all right. Anything further, Counselor?
No.
Okay. Any other comments or questions from the board?
Yes.
Yes, Commissioner Krieger.
So how soon do you expect to go live with this operation? How much renovation are you going to have to do? How much time?
Well, pretty much the only thing I just have left is just the kitchen. I need to make sure that where it's going to be established, I need to just do the work from connecting gas lines and stuff, and I just feel that I just want to be sure that this is going to go through in order to pursue with the renovations of the restaurant to get it inspected and ready to go.
How much money do you feel you need for the kitchen?
Probably would say like just a couple grand, probably $6,000.
I noticed that the investment was for $20,000. That doesn't seem like a lot of money for the pictures that I saw here, and it looks like all brand-new furniture and now kitchenware, but I imagine, you know, you're trying to spruce up the place. Is the $20,000 exactly what's going into the establishment?
Yeah, because the kitchen appliances is in the facility, it's just not connected.
Okay. All right.
So you think 3 months before you're ready to roll?
If I can possibly open it before that, I would love to, but I'm hoping it shouldn't take longer than 3 months.
Commissioner Donahue?
My recollection is that's not the biggest seating capacity. What is it, the capacity in there at night? I'm just concerned about large crowds getting in there once it opens.
Well, from what I've seen from the previous license, it does state on the previous license that it holds about, the capacity is about 88 people in the establishment.
Okay.
Thank you.
Wish of the body.
Mr. Chairman, just one point. Sir, you mentioned that there was some, I think, work to be done to connect gas lines. Have you pulled the appropriate permits required through City Hall for building and inspectional services, especially if you're installing natural gas? Or how are you making those connections? Do you have a contractor? Or?
Well, I haven't physically placed the kitchen in place, so I know that in order to do these arrangements and connections, I know that it has to be a licensed worker in the premises and also a permit by the city.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Are we ready for a motion?
We are.
I move approval.
Move for approval.
Excuse me, members of the commission, this is a public hearing.
Oh, it's a public hearing. My apologies. My apologies. Thank you, Ryan.
I withdraw my motion.
That'll be fine. At this time, I'd like to open up the public hearing, and people that are in favor, hearing no one, that portion of the public hearing is closed. At this time, we open up the public hearing. Anybody like to speak in opposition? In opposition? In opposition? Hearing no one, that portion of the public hearing is closed. There's a motion on the floor by Commissioner Krieger, seconded by Commissioner Donahue. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Mr. Torres, I wish you the best of luck. This board wishes you the best of luck. Like your council has told you, that place has had some, it's been a little tough the last couple of years, but give your heart and soul to it. I'm sure you'll do fine.
Thank you.
All right, good luck.
Thank you. Good night.
Speaking of taking time to open,
Commission will now proceed with agenda item number 10, hearing regarding allegations of misconduct on September 1st, 2016, as charged by William M. Taylor, Superintendent of Police, against Akshaw Sales Corporation, doing business as Chuck's Variety, Himanshu Patel, manager, Lowell Beverages and Wines Only Package Store licensee at 641, 643 School Street, as set out in the superintendent's communication dated September 29, 2016.
Good evening. State your name for the record.
Himanshu Patel.
Alberto Morales.
Mr. Patel, would you like the complaint read into the record, or would you like to continue?
Continue.
Okay. Floor is yours.
What happened, my employee sold to a minor. I was at the premises, but I moved away from the counter for 5 minutes to help a customer. And that was his first day after we trained him on the floor. It was a Thursday night, I believe. And what he told me, he got nervous because I left him for 2 seconds to go to help a customer around the corner. And as soon as I walked back to the counter, I saw the officers came and introduced themselves to me.
Okay.
And they talked to him and they talked to me. And that's when I found out this happened.
So prior to you leaving, you were training him? How long?
I trained him for 3 weeks before.
3 weeks?
Yes.
Interesting. Mr. Morales, tell us what happened.
Yeah, a customer came in and we bought a 6-pack of Bud Light, and it was kind of hectic, and plus he left the counter and he just forgot to ID the guy. And a couple of seconds after, the officer just walked into the door.
So, Mr. Patel, were you training Mr. Morales for 3 weeks?
Yes.
All right, so was part of your training for IDs?
I always tell every single person who comes in, doesn't matter the age, I always check the ID.
Yep.
And this is my second location, and this is the first time it happened to me.
When did you get the license here?
We had I started the store in March.
In March?
Yes.
All right. Commissioners, more questions? Commissioner Krieger.
So you didn't check the license, the ID? You did not check the ID?
No, because I was kind of crowded in the store, so I just got overcome.
Yeah, I guess my advice is if your mother walks in, make her show an ID. No matter how crowded it is.
Yes.
I believe Commissioner Krieger and myself, we've been here, 3, 4 years, and we've seen many of these complaints come in front of this board, and I can never understand it. I really can't. And now you're saying that you train Mr. Morales for 3 weeks, he gets his first customer, and he doesn't card anybody. That to me is unacceptable. It really is. Commissioner Donahue.
Have there been any prior
No,
problems at
this would be the
store?
first complaint.
So March, okay, thank you.
Let me ask you, Mr. Patel, your other store,
It's
have you been?
Quick Mart. on Gorham Street.
In Gorham Street, have you been in
Yeah,
front
the
of this board before?
No.
You have not?
And I heard the location for, we have a license for 6, 7 years up there.
6 years and you've never been in front of this board? What
Yeah.
about Mr. Morales? What do you think you're gonna do with him?
He's not working since then. We're pending investigation on, I told him he can't come to work until what happens at the hearing. So he hasn't been there since then.
Are you retraining him?
No, he's not working since then.
You fired him.
I told him I won't let him work until what you guys want me to do with him. Because I know the
Well, I'm
rules
not,
are.
I'm not gonna tell you what
The
to do
rules
with
are
him.
to not let him work or train again, but that's the reason he's not working from last almost a month now.
Commissioner Krieger?
I'd make a motion that we suspend the license for 2 days and hold it in abeyance for a year.
I would second that. Any further discussion? Motion by Commissioner Krieger, seconded by Chairman Dakota. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? You got one bite of the apple, okay? It's not gonna happen again, right?
Never.
All right. Gentlemen, have a good evening.
Thank you.
Commission will now proceed with the 11th item on our meeting agenda, the hearing regarding allegations of misconduct on September 23rd, 2016, as charged by William M. Taylor, the Superintendent of Police, against the Miller Street Village, Inc., doing business as Village Smokehouse, Alan F. Kaplan, manager, all alcoholic beverages restaurant licensee at 9298 Miller Street, is set out in the Superintendent's communication dated September 29th, 2016.
State your name for the record, sir.
John Hardigan. I represent the Middle Street Village Smokehouse, the DBA, the Village Smokehouse. With me this evening is Tim Kelleher and Alan Kaplan. They are the owners. Mr. Kelleher was the manager on duty that evening, and he would be the individual who would be able to answer any specific factual questions that the board may have.
That's fine. Attorney Hardigan, would you like the complaint read into the record or defer?
Mr. Chairman?
Deputy Superintendent Webb?
If Attorney Hardigan would let me interrupt for a second, I have some information that the commission might want to hear that Mr. Hardigan would probably like to hear before he starts.
Please proceed.
The two young women in question who were present at this incident are here tonight, and they are available to testify. I just learned this evening that their testimony would be that someone else purchased the alcohol from them, and they were not served by an employee of the establishment. So as far as the first part of the complaint about selling or delivering an alcoholic beverage goes, I would stipulate to that, and I'd be willing to withdraw that part of the complaint.
How do you feel about that, Counselor? You object?
No objection.
No objections.
Thank you, Deputy.
I guess, Elliot, how we would like to proceed with the second complaint, knowing that the first one has been...
Well, I would submit that given the second part, which is no licensee for the sale of alcohol beverages shall permit any disorder, disturbance, or illegality of any kind on their premises. I think if these young women did, in fact, have alcohol on their presence, they were, and they were in fact under 21, that in and of itself is an illegality. So theoretically, it could be penalized under the fact that it was an illegality on the premises. So I would submit that given, state law, tiki hut and things like that, the Village Steakhouse certainly can't be penalized for violation of Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 4. They didn't sell the alcohol. I think it's a question, though, whether or not they can be penalized for the fact of permitting an illegality of this sort to occur. I think that's a question that the License Commission can take into consideration. Again, though, I would state that Tiki Hut and, the facts that we know of at present make it clear that they cannot be punished for serving alcohol in violation of Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 34. However, I would submit that it is an open question as to whether, in permitting an illegality, that the fact that these women were on premises under 21 with an alcoholic beverage would, for purposes of state law, violate Section 34A and 34C regarding possession of alcohol. But again, I would submit that's an open question for the commission to consider, and certainly Attorney Hardigan can take a position on that as well at the hearing.
Attorney Hardigan, do you have anything further? Because I believe I want to bring up the two young ladies to ask them a few questions.
I do, but if you absolutely...
Please proceed.
I mean, just as to that issue, the charge was the sale. So given what the information that the deputy has provided and the withdrawal of the claim, that goes away. As to the allowance of an illegality, I would just point out that I mean, the reality is that minors get into establishments like the Village Smokehouse. They get into establishments in every establishment in the city. I would suggest every establishment in the state. And the reason they do is because we have a whole lot of really smart kids. We have a whole lot of talented forgers or computer graphics people, and all of these people have access to the internet. And so what's happening is very skillful forged IDs are being produced. Now, what does at least the Smokehouse do? First thing they do is they buy technology. I mean, they've got a scanner which is made by TokenWorks, and I'm sure the commission is aware of this. This is military-grade scanning. And it scans, and I know we've been through this before, but it scans both the 2D barcode and the 3D barcode. So one, they buy technology and they update it. The second thing they do is they have a police presence. They hire details, Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights. So you've got an individual, and assumedly an underage individual, who has the confidence because they know how good this forged ID is. Walking in, they're waiting in line, they see the person in front of them scan it, they see a Lowell police representative scanning right there, and they walk right by. I mean, but I think the Village Smokehouse is doing anything they can do to prevent this illegality. Number two, I disagree with what the city solicitor says. I mean, consumption and possession vis-a-vis a licensed holder is not an illegality. I mean, if you want to charge them with something else, you can, but it's not what the law says.
Okay. Ladies, could you approach the lectern, please? Attorney Veloso, do I have to swear them in?
Yes.
You're going to do it?
I believe you have the authority to do so.
I don't have it in front of me. Is it what the saying?
Yes, it would be the same saying. If you wish, if you can grant me the authority, I can do so on your behalf.
And I am granting you authority.
Ladies, could you please raise your right hand? Do you swear that the testimony you are about to give is the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
And before you testify, I am to advise you that you do have a Fifth Amendment right under the United States Constitution not to self-incriminate yourself. Should you choose, you may wish to invoke that right. However, it is within your right to do so, should you wish to grant testimony.
State your names for the record, please.
I'm Avery Downs and Morgan Parent.
Okay. So what time did we get to the Village Smokehouse?
Around 10:30.
You can come closer so we can all hear you.
10:30?
About 10:30.
Yeah.
Was there a line when you got in there?
Yes.
All right. So you got to the bouncer at the door.
Well, what actually happened, there was a line of people on
one
the
side.
right side, and
Yeah.
then there was a
big crowd of people on the left side, and the big crowd of people on the left side were not getting ID'd. And
It was just like a gap, and we kind of just walked in.
So if you're on the left, you get no ID?
One bouncer outside with.
I'm sorry, you're going to have to clarify. So there's two lines.
There was
So
one
if you don't
line-
want to get carded, you go to one line, or how does it all work here?
I don't know. There was one bouncer with one line, maybe about 11 people that were
Okay.
getting ID.
And he was
And then there was people on one side
They're
that wasn't
smoking
a
and stuff.
line.
They were smoking cigarettes, and then we just ended up walking by, and they didn't say anything to us.
Yeah, that's another subject I want to touch upon before we leave tonight, too, about smoking area. Okay, so you go to the left-hand side?
Yeah,
Where
we
they're
just
not
kind of
being?
walked in.
Yeah.
And you walk right, nobody
No one
nobody
said
said?
anything.
Okay, so you got in there, met friends?
Yes.
Okay, so how many bartenders on that night, would you say?
Like 4, 5.
How many people would you say are there around 10:30?
I want to say maybe 4. I'd
Like
say
people?
4.
Oh, people.
Oh,
People that were there,
sorry.
probably
Well,
like, I don't know, it was pretty packed already.
Okay, so
Like-
basically, people are going up, I'll take 4 Budweisers and 2 Cape Codders, that type of thing.
Yeah,
And the bartenders
it was
are just
pretty
giving.
crowded, yeah.
All right, and you just asked your friend to go buy you?
Yeah,
two
my
Bud-
friend
two
was
Bud Lights.
buying drinks for us, so.
How many
yeah,
did he purchase at once?
2. Oh, no, 3.
He bought 3 drinks, 2 Bud Lights and whatever he was drinking?
Yeah.
Right? Brought it back to the table?
Yeah.
Then you just started drinking, and then that's when the officer came in?
Yes.
Okay. At no time how much time had lapsed when you had started to drink your beer and the officer came in?
About like 20 minutes.
20 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions for the 2 young ladies before I let Mr. Hardigan ask a question if you'd like? No? No? Attorney Hardigan, do you have any questions for the young ladies?
I don't, but I think I have a point of edification. It's my understanding, and Mr. Kelleher can clear this up, but this congregation on the left-hand side,
Yep.
it's my understanding is that obviously you can't smoke inside the establishment. So if people want to smoke, they're asked to exit the facility and they get stamped. So the entry is back in, meaning so you've already gone through the screening process. And so my guess is that these young ladies probably figured out that I can kind of work my way through with this crowd. But, I mean, if that's not accurate, I would ask Mr. Kelleher. But that's the only thing that I can think of. There's not 2 lines. There's 1 line, there's 1 scanner, there's 1 police detail. There is probably a procedure which may need some further discussion amongst the management team. But I think that's what they were talking about was the smoking.
Were you that smart that night to get into that other line?
No.
So you feel that distinctly there were 2 different lines?
Well, I was just saying there was a line, I don't know what it was.
There was just a group of people,
just a
so we
group
kind
of
of just walked by and no one
Were all
said-
those people smoking?
Not all of them.
Not all of
no.
them, but a good.
It was the
portion.
contained area which is used primarily for sidewalk seating for,
Yeah, mostly smoking, yeah.
okay, all right. All right, ladies, I'm sorry, Commissioner Donahue, go right ahead.
So you saw people being scanned, checked for IDs, but you figured you didn't have to be in the line for checking IDs?
I don't know, we just walked in because we didn't have IDs on us.
So you just found a convenient way to walk in past the scanners and the police officer? Okay, thank you.
So once you get in, your friend buys you a couple of drinks, and you get caught. Okay. Anything else further for the young ladies? Commissioner Howe?
So you met a friend there, or friends?
Yes.
So was there a plan if you weren't able to get in, or were you pretty confident you'd be able to get in?
Well, usually, I mean, what we've heard from kids around our age, there's been kids going there younger than us going in, being able to just get in, just kind of like, I'd say maybe like grandfathered in, kind of, like, oh, we know you, so yeah, you can come in, kind of thing. I think that's.
Is it that people know bouncers and their
Yeah.
bouncers let them in, right? Pretty much, yeah?
Yeah.
Is that the first time you had been there?
The second.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been there a couple times.
Okay. All right, ladies, thank you very much.
Before you leave, if I may ask, just for the record, how old were you under 21 when you entered the Village Smokehouse in the night in question?
Yes.
Okay.
Attorney Hardigan, anything further on your end? I do not. Thank you, sir. Any other questions or comments for either Mr. Kelleher or Mr. Hardigan from the board? Commissioner Donahue.
Both Downs and Parent in your report, it's down on the third paragraph, stated they each consumed one Bud Light on that evening. Did they have anything in front of them at that time? Was there a full beer or?
No, sir, I didn't see anything in their hands when I spoke to them. I spoke to them at the front door of the establishment.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
Were you already inside the establishment, Officer Hanson, at that time, or were you outside and kind of followed the girls in?
No, I had walked into the establishment with two other superior officers. I went to the rear of the establishment. When I came back around, the other two officers had already spoken to these two women and brought them to the front entrance, and that's when I spoke to them.
So you were there probably 20 minutes prior to the girls getting there at 10:30, would you say?
I would not even, sir. I was in there maybe 5 minutes.
All right. Can you comment on supposedly this other line? Did you see any of that action?
I didn't, sir.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? Any questions? No?
No.
Thank you, officer. Appreciate it. I'm sorry. Attorney Hardigan, anything? Thank you. Commissioner.
Yeah, this is sort of murky, and I'd like to press the test on this, except I think the facts are not sufficient. We have to either through our own enforcement action and the approval of the ABCC, find a way of saying that people sneaking in and getting served by a third party is not acceptable, and we need to have a way of dealing with that. I'm not sure this is the case.
I'd have to agree with Commissioner Krieger, though I am a bit, I don't know, unhappy that there's kind of a census between 18 and 20-year-old is that you can get into the Village Smokehouse if either you might know somebody or know a bouncer or somebody else. That to me is a little bit disturbing and something that the management may have to work on, because if that's what the thinking of the young crowd is out there, the Village Smokehouse is the 18 to 20-year-old play group, then that's a bit disturbing, but I'd have to agree with Commissioner Krieger. I think this is a bit murky. I'll defer to Commissioner Howe or Commissioner Donahue on any of their thoughts. Commissioner Howe?
I think the testimony of the young lady stating that it was pretty well known, that it was easy to get in there, or access to the place, is certainly evidence of permitting disturbance or illegality on the premises. That's my opinion.
I think that our hands are tied by the law and the way the rulings have come down as to dealing with kids going into bars, and we've got to find a way to hold bartenders and bar owners a little more responsible, and that may take the legislature acting as opposed to us, but I think we have a problem with this case at this point. Thank you.
What's the wish of the body? Commissioner Krieger.
I would like to put this on record and move on, but I would hope that although I don't see any reporter here, but I would hope that the word would get out that we're going to be taking a serious look at this whole area of 18, 19, 20-year-olds penetrating the security. I'm glad the people outside the door are not defending my fire base.
If I may make a suggestion.
Right ahead.
If Commissioner Krieger is concerned, one, about the reputation of the Village Smokehouse, and given the testimony that there certainly is a reputation that underage people can get in without much effort, it's certainly within the License Commission purview to request that the Village Smokehouse provided a update as to its security and review procedures to prevent such incidents of underage serving in the future. It's certainly within your purview, in light of the testimony that's been provided, that there is an issue going on here, and whether or not it's subject to Chapter 138, Section 34, in terms of violations. There certainly has been voiced concern that underage persons are getting in here quite easily and being able to obtain alcoholic beverages. You've just heard the testimony of 2 women who were able to do so. It's certainly within the License Commission's purview to ensure and prevent such activities from occurring in the future, especially given that they are illegal.
I mean, I know Officer Hanson's here, not as any of his supervisors. I find it curious that, I know we do compliance checks in package stores, but it's not, well, many times, and maybe you can chime in, Deputy Superintendent, that we have compliance checks in our clubs or restaurants, that type of thing.
That's what this was. It was a compliance check based upon the report.
I understand that, Deputy Superintendent. Did we get word that
This was referred to as a compliance check, but it's not the probably not the proper term for us to be using. It's not the same type of compliance check as the last hearing was about the package store. The reason it's not done as often in the bars is because under those guidelines for those types of compliance checks, once the operative is confronted and asks for identification, that's it. He or she is to leave and the compliance check is over. And usually any of these type of establishments, once they hit the front door or ask for an ID, that's it. So that's why you don't have a lot of violations of that type before the commission.
I just don't remember many instances of us going into bars. I'm wondering if somebody had dropped a dime that there was underage drinking there, that's all. You don't have to answer that.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I mean, all of a sudden, it's assumed fact that there's a reputation in the Village Smokehouse. I mean, in preparation for this hearing, I look back on your records for 5.5 years. There's been 2 findings over that 5.5 year period that the Village Smokehouse served minors. So if you do the math, that's 250, 260 weekends that they have gone without. So I'm not certain where this reputation, except for a statement from, you know, one of the 2 women here today, that this is a citywide reputation of allowing underage patrons.
Commissioner Krieger?
Well, yeah, I'm not that good at math, but I've got 2 years in college. They testified that it was common knowledge. They said they had been in there before. And apparently we're not doing compliance checks, the police are not doing walkthroughs, but I think that there's enough indication that there is some word out there that it's worth us showing some concern. The fact that they were underage and they were served is an indication that the intent of the law, whatever the letter is, the intent of the law is not being upheld. And I think that we need to make the point to our bar owners, our restaurants that serve alcohol, make the point that we want to have more attention paid to this.
And I'm certain the management team hears that, and they will make a thorough review.
Mr. Elliott's suggestion, which would cause me to have to amend my motion, I guess, I think has some value, that we would request the Village Smokehouse to come back and brief us on what they're doing, how they have analyzed this, and what changes they have made based upon their analysis.
If I could make a suggestion, Mr. Krieger, to that, perhaps if we could put something, initially make a written submission to the board. Upon the board's review, if they found deficiencies of it, provide notice to the establishment, and we would come back in. And then, because it would be specifics, it would be written, and it would be a plan.
All right, so my motion now is that we put the issue on file, and that we request the Village Smokehouse to send us a letter that we can read at the next meeting, in which they lay out their understanding of the problem and their solutions.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Howe.
And also, I'd like to, I don't know if this is an amendment to the motion, to include a photo of the front of the premises.
We can amend that motion as well.
I'll second the amendment.
Second on the amended motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Gentlemen, have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Actually, what I really want to do is call
Proceeding with the next item on the agenda, we have application by,
I'm sorry, you said you had wanted to mention something about the smoking? Okay, thank you.
proceeding with the next item on our meeting agenda, the application by G.T. Doyle and Company, Inc., Gregory J. Doyle, President, for transfer of the malt beverages and wines package store license from Lowell Provision Company, Peter F. Doyle, manager, for premises at 963 Chelmsford Street. It is requested that Gregory J. Doyle be approved as manager of record for G.T. Doyle and Company, Inc. For commission ratification, publication of the legal notice in Lowell Sun newspaper for October 21st. And secondly, is scheduled for a public hearing on this application for Thursday, November 3rd, 2016 at 6:30 in the council chamber.
Motion by Commissioner Donahue, seconded by Commissioner Howe to schedule a public hearing at our November 3rd meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion
Number 13
passes.
is application by 1981 Raymond Bar LLC, Peter Yoon, manager, 129 Merrimack Street, all alcoholic beverage restaurant licensee for alteration of premises to add outdoor seating, 6 tables, 15 chairs, 8 feet by 16 feet fenced patio. For License Commission ratification, publication of a legal notice for October 21st, 2016, Lowell Sun newspaper. Also, to have the public hearing on this application for Thursday, November 3rd, 2016 at 6:30 p.m. in the City Council chamber.
Ryan, I'm curious. He's applying for this, and there's only 2 weeks left for sidewalk seating?
The season is over as far as outside seating is concerned, but even though it's later, he can always anticipate 2017.
There you go. Motion by Commissioner Howe, seconded by Commissioner Krieger, to schedule a public hearing on November 3rd. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. So we have a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Moved to adjourn by Commissioner Krieger, seconded by Commissioner Howe. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ladies and gentlemen, have a great evening.